if I have this right, you sat on a UN policy committee focused on the regulation of autonomous lethal weapons. Is that correct?
Yes, the colloquial term is killer robots.
Yeah. So the question I have is, should we have some type of authority control mechanism to ensure that AI maybe isn't used for the wrong things in the wrong ways by the wrong people?
I think that at a regulatory level, that's very, very hard to do. The thing for me that was striking about this group was actually at one point when we were talking about aquatic devices, submarines that would go off by themselves for months at a time and every once in a while blow something up. At one point I said, well, and then the system would have to decide. And everyone in the room looked at me and said, decide? But it's a machine. Machines don't decide. And it was a revealing moment for me. And I said, we're talking about machines that by their nature, we want to have meaningful control over, but are autonomous. And that means at some point they're going to decide. And if you don't understand that they're going to decide, what you're going to do is you're going to participate in building a document that will confuse people, and they will actually start deploying things that make decisions. And that's when things go bad. And so I think the big thing is to understand what we're deploying, how they work, what, at a functional level, how to control them, what control means, and let that be the driver instead of trying to, certainly we can't regulate the technology. The technology will happen, no matter what, it will happen. But regulate our relationship with it with regard to understanding what it does. And now I'm going to tell you the other tiny story. And that is in the decide conversation, there's something that's called proportional response. And that is if they kill 20 of yours, you kill 20 of theirs. The idea of AI and proportional response came up in the context of deciding. And everyone in the room was like, well, but we would never want a system to do things like make a decision about proportional response. And one of the military guys in the room actually burst out laughing. And he said, they already do. There are equations that we use. Because in the fog of war, you do not want human beings making this kind of decision. And for me, that was actually a reassuring moment, that people were sitting there understanding that there are places where we make mistakes and we have biases and we are confused by the world. And actually having, again, partners that are a bit more analytical, that are a bit more controlled, that work with us and try to tamp down what ends up being sometimes bad behavior. That actually is, for me, it was an exciting moment.